Hello everyone, this is RaySpace and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 where I continue my Neofly career. I've been flying the DC-6 and basically I've been flying it around the world picking up jobs along the way, and this time I'm going to pick up this job to OING, which is in Iran, but considering I last landed in Turkey, I don't feel like there's any particularly great path for me given the places that it's offering here. I do need to go eastward in order to continue my flight around the world, and so yeah, I'm going to pick this up. 45 passengers to Gorgon, and we have to take off soon. Alright, so nowadays they have this cabin information here, and potentially the passengers are not going to be happy with me, so that's going to be interesting. And just to once again take a look at my path so far, I started out really in Tokyo, but that wasn't where I started the around the world flight. I had flown around the Southeast Asia for a bit and then into India and flown around, and it was only that one, Khajuraho. Khajuraho is where I started with the DC-6 around the world, and so I went around, and then right around here it doesn't understand the dateline slash anti-meridian, so anyway, picking up from here and going up there and across the United States and then across the Atlantic, and for some reason the line doesn't have Poland to Ukraine, but I did that too, otherwise I wouldn't have had my plane over here. But no, that was the flight that was interrupted by a game crash I think. But then, alright, we are here in Turkey and I continue. So we're not too far away from completing the circumnavigation of the DC-6. And I do need some extra fuel. Well, I think we should, since it's passenger mission, actually start from a ramp. But do we have anything? This is sort of a terminal, but then it's general aviation. I'm a little bit concerned about the parking spots being maybe not suitable parking spots, so maybe I'll just go with the runway.
Call for passengers. Please
so in here it has a list of passengers. We'll see how that goes. Will there be any thumbs up by the end of it?
Welcome on board. As you find your seat, may we request that you place large items?
Okay, well, while they're sorting that out, I'll sort this out. I need to have the right load. So we have 45 passengers. Should I just run with... in Microsoft Flight Sim 2020, I didn't get them orange this quickly. But in 2024, it's been like this. But they haven't updated the planes, so... maybe I'll try and fly with it orange like that. Now, let me fix the carburetors a bit. Apparently pretty cold around here. I bet I'm gonna have to turn these down soon, though. Well, question mark on engine 2, even though it's at the same carburetor heat as the others. Well, that'll be interesting. If I lose all my engines, that'll be a very interesting flight, won't it be? Probably don't need the water injection. We won't push the engines too hard this time, shall we? It is at 5,600 feet here at LTCE, and we are heading to OING. Okay, up we go. Sort of got a highway here on our basic path out. Hopefully I've been keeping the ride nice and steady for the passengers. First time I've got passengers that might complain. So out we go from Turkey. I've been having a bit of a rough time with Beyond ATC recently, and I sure don't like the stock ATC. I'll consider Say Intentions at some point. Especially if I start flying the 737 and all. Oh, as expected, carburetor temperature. Well, taking a look at the passenger satisfaction, we see it says 38% and up, and we're supposed to get more than 90 to get a reputation bonus. Number of the what you got? Flight attendants available. Apparently I don't have any. So I guess I might need to hire flight attendants in order to serve stuff. So that's a new consideration. Okay, who's really heavy around here? Sort by weight. I want to know who's heavy. Well, they all seem fairly middling. It's fine. There are some tall mountains in the way potentially, so I'm going to make sure to go to a greater height than usual. I normally try to stay low because of the scenery and taking a look around. Okay, well, I'm going to set the flight to 17,000 feet. So the cabin should be at 6,000. Okay, the high superchargers are on. Still climbing. Just want to make sure we can clear everything. It's a rugged landscape over here in Turkey, and it's still rugged over in Iran. We will also be flying over a bit of Armenia and Azerbaijan, as it turns out. We are approaching our cruising altitude, and right now Neofly says that they're at 50% approval. But that's probably going to go down once they find out they're not getting any drinks or food or anything. Feel like that's going to be a problem. I'm just a little regional airline though. On an irregular schedule. Very irregular schedule. Alright, we are at our cruising altitude. Looks like the carburetor temp on engines 1 and 3 are a little bit low. It's because they're at 39% instead of 41%, so I'll bump them up a bit. Then they're question mark, yellow question mark then. We'll see how the engines hold out. Alright, status report. We are over Armenia now. Right about, well, actually I can't trust this map to be perfect sometimes, but we're right about there-ish. Ground speed, well, because of the turn we're down to 273, but we might pick back up to 280-ish. And we are still at 17,000 feet. The passengers are not super thrilled. We can see that passenger satisfaction is down now 30%. Let me see if I can do drinks. Can we pass out drink? Drink distribution impossible, no flight attendant. Okay, but how about entertainment unit? We can't do entertainment without a flight attendant? Oh gosh. Pillow distribution is also not possible. So basically, they want food. That's what it says. They want food. So it looks like I'm gonna have to hire flight attendants for the passengers, and we're not gonna get any bonus this time around. Alas, we're less than halfway there still, so they're gonna get real grumpy. But it's interesting to see the ramifications of that. We'll see. It says we won't get a bonus, but will we get some sort of deficit, reputation deficit because of that? I don't know. We'll see how bad it can get. Alright folks, we are now over the Caspian Sea. So we have just passed Azerbaijan there. Caspian Sea looking pretty big right now. And our destination, Gorgon, is basically right on the coast of it. It's right, maybe a few miles inland, but It's pretty darn close to the Caspian Sea coast. So once we cross, we'll be right there. Plane's doing fine. The passengers, not so much. 0%. Well, we'll pack food next time. Well, we'll pack. We'll have a flight attendant on board next time so they can pass out the food. Yeah, I don't know exactly what's going to happen to us because of this horrible situation with our passengers, but it's a good thing to find out. So, this is my time to find out what happens when you have a 0% rating with the passengers. Have to do it at least once to see. Alright, we are now over Iran. It's an interesting place right here. It's got this bay that has a bar right in the front there. Gorgon Gulf, as it turns out. So we're landing at Gorgon. This is Gorgon Gulf. On this side we have lots of mountains. So it's an interesting approach, and I haven't started descending yet because of that. But I think the landing spot is sort of covered by the clouds over there. Should be alright. Well, the one good thing about having 0% passenger satisfaction is they aren't gonna care a whole lot about the landing, are they? If I mess up the landing, it's not gonna be that big a deal. That was not one of the requirements, by the way. The only requirement for the mission was to take off on time. Well, the scenery's not too bad, all things considered. Looking at the map, in fact, even though the airport's to the left, I think that's the city in front of us. Okay, supercharger's low. Okay, yep, that's the city. Gorgon. I'm sure it's pronounced differently. Oh, there's the runway. We have to come in from the other side, it seems. Actually, the coloring of the landscape right here gives it all a very classic look right now. The DC-6 rather fits in here. It's just got the right washed out look to the farmland, as if I'm using some filter, but right now I'm not. The airport is technically 60 feet below sea level. A little bit hazy. Somewhere in that haze is an airport. Somewhere in this direction. We just saw it earlier. Oh, I think I see it. Okay. Okay, be gentle.
Transporter from dispatch.
Okay.
Nice landing.
Thank
Go
you.
to the parking and put your parking brake on. I'll be in touch.
Taxi to parking and shut down your engine.
Alright. We're here. They didn't complain about the landing or anything. That won't help me with the passengers, though. Alright. Well, those planes are parked just all over the place, aren't they? Well, that's not convenient. They're sort of blocking the way. This is not good hospitality. Oh, that one disappeared though. I'm just gonna go over here. This seems like a nice turnaround zone for me anyway. I'll park here.
Ladies and gentlemen, for your safety, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the seatbelt sign has been turned off. Please ensure that
Well,
you
we
have
already
all
know
your
my
personal
fate
belongings
as far
with you
as
you
the
leave
rating
the
is
aircraft.
concerned.
Also remember that electronic devices,
They've
if you
already
wish to do so. Thank
departed.
you, and
They
good
probably
afternoon.
rushed out the door. Real-time flight bonus, 102,000 apparently. Haven't got paid for the flight yet though. Passenger satisfaction reputation 0. Well, I'll be picking it up from here for the next flight, and I really don't want to fly into Afghanistan or Pakistan. Well, I'd prefer to just go straight into India if possible.
Transporter
It's a
from
longish
dispatch.
flight though.
Disembarkation completed. Thank you. See you soon for another mission.
Okay, so that was 398,000. I got some XP, but
You can start your engine now.
still a ways away from getting to senior captain, which is necessary for airline flights, especially with the 737. So that is the situation right now. And we are here in Gorgan, Iran. Picking this up on the next day, I see one possible flight to continue going in the right direction, to go eastward. So I guess I have to go to Afghanistan here to Dwyer. If we took a look at the other options, that's west, 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 well, south, west, 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 no, actually north really. West, west, north, west. It's really horrible. It's except for this one. This one would work in the right direction, but I don't want to cover 1,752 nautical miles at one go. So yeah, we are left with this Dwyer one, and I have to land softly. Good news is that I don't have to get a flight attendant because it's not a passenger mission. It is carrying fuel, as it turns out, so that's no problem. I do need to actually get more fuel as well. I should hire the flight attendants though, but for now I don't need to. But really, I need to pick up the upgrade to Neofly. Neofly by default is free, but there is a paid-for upgrade that allows you the hazardous missions. And if I have the hazardous missions available, then that'll be more options. And maybe more of those will go in the right direction. Somehow, I doubt that it's gonna be slam dunk on that. But anyway. Let us turn to the sim, and so that's the flight there. I'll just go for it straight, and I'm going to go live. So if it's dark, it's dark.
Transporter from dispatch. Loading sensitive cargo. Please stand by.
That doesn't sound like fuel to me, but anyway. Oh, it's actually dawn here. It's past dawn, I mean. So we don't need those.
You're good to
Now,
go.
because it'll get
Contact
tail
the
heavy,
tower
I'm
for
gonna put
clearance.
some passengers in. Otherwise, it tends to be problematic. Okay. I just want to make sure we're not scraping our tail. Okay. So, this seems alright. I really want the tanks to be even, because the crossfeed doesn't work. Well, I'm still going with the orange exclamation mark engines. We will see how that goes. So I'm not healing them yet. And let me get to the carb temp. Carb heat. Okay, that's all green. A little bit of flaps. Okay, we are ready to go. And up we go.
Transporter. Have a nice flight. Keep the cargo secure.
Looks like the runway heading is exactly what we need. And we are on our way with another thrilling flight in the DC-6. We probably only have 2 more flights to our destination, assuming I can get a mission from Neofly to the right airport. I don't think I'm climbing enough to get over those mountains. Turn, say, over here seems good. So we'll deviate from the flight plan to make sure we don't smack on a hillside. Just to be safe, we'll still need to go higher up, just like the last flight. So apparently the logbook in Flight Sim 2024 just doesn't work. It just gets rid of your hours randomly. I've flown much more than this, I assure you. So I decided to start using Volanta. I probably should have a long time ago. Well, anyway, I'm very disappointed that they can't even get the basic function of the logbook correct. Well, Volanta does not seem to even know of my destination airport. OADY does not appear as a destination. Okay, Volanta knows I exist. That's nice. But now, I think I need to turn back to my flight path. I think we've avoided crashing into the mountains sufficiently. Yeah, apparently it didn't know Dwyer Air Base had the OADY code and only knew the 3-letter one. That was the problem. Okay, so I'm slowly figuring out Volanta. Well, there's the sun, looking good. I think it's about time for us to go to the high supercharger. Seems fine. And again, I look at the pad because sometimes looking at the dials, I don't feel like there's a problem, but then the pad says there is, so. So, it's 532 nautical miles left. The landscape is looking like that, thanks to the sun mainly. It'll be somewhat dramatic. There's a little interesting white spot there that I don't know what it is. We are still very much in Iran for quite a while. And then we'll cross into Afghanistan. Should be a little under 2 hours to get there. Very close to completing this around the world flight with DC-6, but not just an around the world flight. It is a career mode around the world flight, right? I have picked up work all the way. Now, granted, I did switch from the DC-6A to DC-6B along the way, but fundamentally the operations of the plane are the same, so. Alright, progress report with the sun somewhat further up. We are still in Iran, actually, close to the eastern border of it. The land is very dry. And currently I am going at 302 knots ground speed. About 49 minutes remaining. Still holding at 17,000 feet. No apparent issues. Alright, we have crossed into Afghanistan. I think maybe it's related to that river behind us, the rather dry riverbed. It's sort of a straightish line that might be vaguely related to that waterway. Yeah, it sometimes follows the water, sometimes doesn't. So, 38 minutes remaining. And I'm getting that 38 minutes from Volanta, by the way. Alright, it is time for descent, but there's a heck of a seam in the landscape right there. I assume that's not how it's actually supposed to be. That line right there. Well, hopefully it doesn't affect the airport. I don't think it does. Alright. Pretty clear day. I don't think I'm gonna have trouble seeing the airport this time. Let me just make sure that this is the actual weather. Seems like it is. Sometimes it's off when I didn't mean for it to be off. Yeah, that seam is rough. Well, actually I'm passing high here. I'll be turning to the right and curving around, but that's actually the air base right there. There it is. Dwyer Air Base, and well, there's sure nothing else around apparently. Some remnants of alluvial things, and there's definitely a river over there. And some farmland on that river. Oh, wow. Wind is very much contrary to expectations. I've got a tailwind now. Land softly.
Transporter from dispatch. Nice landing.
Thank
Go
goodness.
to the parking and put your parking brake on. I'll be in touch.
Wish I had rudder pedals.
Contact ground for your parking assignment, then shut down your engine.
Okay, is this where I go off? Seems like it. Well, once again, it's sort of tight parking around here. I doubt an air base is going to have those planes in particular, but who knows. There's one guy right there. I don't know. Seems to want to get chopped by a propeller. Okay. Well, I think there's enough clearance here. I know I can't actually hit the planes, but just for verisimilitude. Okay. Good enough for me.
Transport from dispatch. Someone is coming to take the cargo. I'll call you when it's done.
So,
Let's
we are
go.
here in Afghanistan and taking a look at what Neofly has to say. Got 423,000 for the payment. We got a real-time flight bonus of 108,000 and decent XP, but still a ways to go for senior captain. I'm at basically 24,000 out of 30,000, so still some time there. But alright. Just a little ways to go before I complete the around the world flight. Hopefully in the next video I will do so. So, with that, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do press like. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below. And I'll see you next time.